Welcome to Skip Happens. I am Skip Clark, your host, and thank you for coming back. We've got another great program for you tonight, another great podcast. Let me put it that way. I've got an artist, a Canadian music artist with me here tonight. He's making a lot of waves here in the United States. He's put out a few singles already, and he's got another one that you're going to be hearing on the radio real soon. Say hi to my new friend, Rob Fitzgerald. Rob, how are you tonight?
I'm good, Skip. How are you?
Doing well. Hey, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate this.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, where are you?
I am in a little town just maybe about 30 miles outside of Toronto, Canada.
Oh, okay. Do you get into the city at all?
I do. I actually work in the city, and
wow. Okay.
And so yeah, I'm there fairly frequent, but
I got you.
I prefer a little quieter, suburban, rural. That's a little more of my nature. So
yeah, it's been a long time since I've been to Toronto, to be honest with you. But it's one of the great cities that I have been to. It was a while ago, like I said. Toronto is always very clean, and I just love the people. It's just a great atmosphere. I think now I'm thinking back. I was back when the Phantom of the Opera was playing in Toronto at the Pantages Theater.
Yeah, that would have been a long time ago for the Phantom of the Opera. So
now I'm dating myself.
A lot has changed in Toronto. The vertical population has grown. I think we're probably sitting around 5 or 6 million now. But Toronto is the center of everything here in Ontario. Everything goes on between basketball, hockey, football, every concert you can think of. Every major concert goes on in Toronto. So it's a happening place.
Are you like a big sports guy? Do you get to go watch the Maple Leafs and what have you?
I would if I could afford it. The tickets to Toronto are unbelievable.
That's right. You're a musician. I get it. Yeah. Believe me.
Even if you're not a musician, we're talking tickets are $250 and upwards.
What?
So it's actually cheaper for me to fly to Florida and go see a Panthers game than it is my own town. So
wow,
I do when I can, and football is huge here as well. So
yeah, and you get the Canadian Football League.
That's right, exactly.
That's kind of cool.
And I live right next door to Hamilton, Ontario, so we've got the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and
okay,
they're always good to see. It's always an exciting crowd. So
I love it. Now, how long have you been a musician?
I'd probably say off and on about 20 years. It's a bit broken up. I got married, had a family, and got a career job, and because of that, I put music on hold for the longest time.
I get you.
And once my kids were older, I got some of my time back. So I actually started songwriting at that point. And the idea would be, work at my job by day, and every publisher that I would pitch to or wherever I would go, they would say, "Is that you singing? And if so, why are you not an artist?" So I heard that enough time, then consulted with some industry people that I really relied on, and I decided to brand myself, and now I'm in my second year, and nothing but good things have happened. So
cool. Now, how does being a Canadian music artist compare to being a country artist here in the States?
It's quite a bit different here in Canada. I mean, country music in the U.S. is, it's what I would almost call a religion. Where here, it's not as centric in the music side of things. And so it is gaining an awful lot of traction here in Canada, more and more so, especially across Canada. And we have the Country Music Association of Ontario, and now the Canadian Country Music Association, which I'll actually be doing a showcase at this coming September. Cool. So there is a lot more that's happening. Since the pandemic has been over, it's gaining more and more steam, and more Canadian artists are actually making it in Nashville now. So,
I was going to ask you that because, I remember the days of Emerson Drive. There was some talk about Doc Walker, although I don't think he ever really completely made the transition to the States. But Emerson Drive did. And I'm trying to think, there's a couple of, Terry Clark was Canadian, if I'm not mistaken.
Terry Clark was,
yeah, and then she made the move.
Well, now you got Bailey Zimmerman.
There you go.
Now from my town, you got Josh Ross. So there's more and more gaining traction all the time, which is it's nice now that a little more of that attention is come our way. So it'd be nice to be kind of right smack in the middle of it, and that's why I try and get as much radio play to the US as well as Canada, to be able to cover kind of both spectrums.
Could you ever see yourself kind of relocating? I know you've got a family and all that, but I mean, to pick everything up and say, all right, honey, we're going to Nashville.
Absolutely. I mean, that's all to me. That's the sun, moon, and stars aligning. But
Mhm.
it would. That's what I'm working towards, and I know that it doesn't come overnight. So with every single that I put out, the idea is strong songwriting, be good at the craft, strong recording, strong vocals, and then just come up with a marketing plan. And I do it all myself right now, and it's a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
daunting. I now just acquired management, so that's been a big help.
Mhm.
And but like I said, it's one step at a time. But in the end, it really doesn't matter because I'm having a great time doing this.
I mean, listening to your music, I can tell. Sounds really good. And you mentioned Josh Ross, and I forgot entirely that, he was Canadian. I don't know why. It just kind of slipped my mind, but he's got that song. I think it's called Trouble.
That's right.
And that song I listen to it almost every day. And
Yeah,
it's just so good. So good.
he is really good. So and I think with him now home base out of Nashville, there's a lot
Mhm,
of people that may not know where his background is and just think that he's just another U.S. artist that has made it by living in Nashville.
mhm, mhm. Is there being in Canada, like we have Nashville here, is there a city like Nashville in Canada, where the musicians go and it's all different genres? I mean, Nashville is no longer just country. And I don't think it ever was really just 100% country. But I mean, we have rock, we have rap, we have all that. Everybody's in Nashville. Is there a city like that in Canada?
I think a little bit more on the eclectic side to be Toronto, but
Okay.
on the country music side, it would be Calgary, Alberta. They call Calgary Nashville North.
Mhm. By the
And
way, I do want to thank you for your wildfires. It gave me a day off a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it's just like that. It was terrible. It was terrible.
yeah,
But
I saw all the photos down kind of in the eastern side of New York. I mean,
yeah, it was
we
bad.
actually had some air quality issues, but not like
Mhm.
what you had. So, um, I'll apologize for you, but I had nothing to do with it at the same time.
I had
As,
to throw it in
as
there. I had to
Canadians,
throw it in.
as Canadians, all we do is apologize.
A?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. Exactly. It's pretty exciting though for you. Now you're making the move to Nashville. It's like just a little piece at a time. And you do have a good company behind you that's getting you out to radio. How many singles have you actually had on the charts?
So, my last single,
Okay.
what "If Country Was a Town," made it to the Music Row charts. I think it reached number 76, and it stayed there for 6 weeks. So for
Oh
me,
wow.
that was a big deal. My
Mhm.
previous single before that, it reached 85. I think that was the top. And of course, with Music Row, you don't get shown unless you're 80 or better. So
Right. I was going to mention that. Yeah.
yeah, so the fact that I was able to get on the charts and have my name there, and then the idea with this current single is to just kind of build on that
Mhm.
and see if we can go even higher from there.
So the current single is "Bad and Boozy,"
That's right.
correct? That's the one that was it early, like June 2nd that came out.
June 2nd, it came out to streaming services
Okay.
and to reporting radio. It just came out. What day is it? Wednesday, Monday.
Monday. Monday.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play a little bit of it here. I hope you don't mind. Can
no
you hear
problem.
this? Okay, here we go.
It's a hot summer Saturday night. Me
I
and
love
my
the gritty feel.
friends got a buzz appetite. Gonna party with the boys and girls, make a noise and jack to make you feel alright. PBR sweating in the backseat, sneaking them back roads all through the county, heading straight into town. Windows all rolled down, gonna get wild, reckless and crazy, getting down with everybody we know. Here at our favorite watering hole, there ain't no time like a good time. Put your hands in the air if you agree. We got beer and wine, tequila and lime. Brace yourself for one hell of a Tuesday. Get ready, get set, let's go. We're getting bad and boozy.
There it is. Wow. See, I love that stuff. It's party music. It's turn it up, play it loud, step on the gas, let's go. You know what I mean?
And that was the idea behind it. I wanted something real simple, but something at the same time really nostalgic. We've all looked forward, and some of us still do to this day, look forward to that,
Mhm.
Friday or Saturday night, meeting up with your friends, having some cold ones, heading to your favorite place, meeting up with everyone else. The band's playing your favorite songs, and you're just having a great time all night long.
That's what it's about. Tell me
Exactly.
about your band a little bit. Obviously, that's not just you. You must have, do you have a regular set of guys that you play with all the time?
I do live. It's now I have a 6-piece band,
Okay.
including fiddle, pedal steel, but that's recorded in Nashville at Baird Recording Studio, and they are
Oh, yeah.
all phenomenal session musicians.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what a lot of people don't realize, that an artist like you, when you go into the studio, it's not necessarily the band that they're going to see on stage with you.
that's
These
right.
are studio musicians. These are people that's what they do for a living.
Exactly.
Whoever's coming in that day, they're going to play with.
You're absolutely right. It's not to take away, of any of the musicians I play live, but they're
Oh,
so
no.
used to playing in this particular studio with the same engineers, the producer they know so well. Um, Tammy King from the Steel Drivers played fiddle on that.
No kidding.
Yeah, so she played on a bunch of my songs, which was just phenomenal.
Mhm.
And Tanya Hencheroff is on backing vocals, and
Wow.
she's toured with Amy Grant.
Mhm.
Her latest stint was with the Judds.
Oh, cool.
So they all play with somebody, and what they've done to my songs, I can't say enough about.
What about on steel? Is this, I mean, who did you said Amy played the fiddle?
So Tammy King,
Tammy King was on
Tammy
the fiddle.
is on fiddle, yeah.
And then the steel. I mean, I love the steel. That's what I call country.
I totally agree. Now this happens to be a little more of a lap slide, just because of that, a little on the more the rock side,
Gotcha.
instead of that, the real dreamy sound of
Mhm.
the pedal steel. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the musicians are just fantastic, and I'm already scheduled for September for the next batch of recordings.
Very cool. Um, can I ask, what do you do for a living besides music?
I'm third generation firefighter.
I did 20 years.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah, congratulations, 20 years.
20 years and out. I was doing radio at the same time, but I went up through the ranks. I did what I had to do. I went to school for radio and TV, but ended up, as a firefighter for 20 years.
Well,
And
congratulations.
yeah, and
Oh,
all the power to you, my friend. That's pretty cool. Are you on a rescue, an engine, or do you have a certain station, or what do you
yeah,
do?
I'm on a pump.
Okay.
I love the fire side of it, so I love
Mhm.
fighting fires. But my grandfather was on the job, my dad was on the
Yep.
job,
Yep.
and it made sense. I'm now a lieutenant, so
Ah,
and
been there.
I'm not going to tell people about my schedule, but
I already know what your schedule's
yeah,
like, and if you can figure it out, it's I don't know if you get certain days on, so many off, and it rotates and blah blah blah.
it
Sometimes you
benefits
don't get any
yeah,
sleep.
absolutely. It benefits me and my music, so
It does.
it's good. Yeah,
Absolutely. So are there times, do you take your guitar to work with you?
always,
Always.
yeah.
Because you're going to have those moments where you won't be in training, you won't be answering an alarm. Guys, you're sitting around the firehouse, just kind of, maybe just somebody cooked dinner and there you are, you're all hanging out and say, you know what? Rob's going to pull out his guitar.
And
He's
that
going to
happens a lot. Believe it
Yeah.
or not. They say, "You can play a song for us." And I said, as a matter of fact, I just finished a song. I just write a song. I'll play it for you. So
Mhm.
between, playing some covers for them, or, just songs I've written or songs that I'm about to record, they absolutely love it. So it's, and the way the hall is laid out, it's actually perfect with the seating arrangement. So it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. You know what I love? I mean, doing a job like being a firefighter, I don't know. The way it is here in the States, you do 20 and you can get out. I don't know how it is in Canada, but
So in Canada, you can go to 65.
okay.
So
Well, that's your choice, though.
that's right. You can do, if you can do 43 years, and by the time you're 65, you can do that however you like to. So
Now, my brother did 20 with the city of Syracuse and he got out. He was president of the firefighters union. He did all that. And I know we're supposed to be talking about music here,
no problem. Yeah.
but he did 20 and got out. And now he's doing a whole separate thing. He's able to collect his his retirement from the fire department, and now, he's doing something else. He's like a landscaping business. So,
And and I don't usually like to lead with, I'm a firefighter, and
no,
one
I get
day,
it though.
if it all works out, you're absolutely right. If Nashville were to come up and say it made sense to actually be there, well, I would have a decision to make and still have a pension at the same time.
Mhm.
So it's
Now, talking about being a firefighter, Josh Ross, his video is him as a firefighter.
I
Does
saw
that have anything to do? Now, I don't know what his background is. So,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the whole production company would have done that, but I saw that. So, and I'm not too sure, how that came about. Had nothing to do with me, but it's
I just thought it was kind of cool.
yeah.
Well, thank you for doing what you're doing. You're one of the many heroes out there, and we appreciate all that you do. And now you're giving us some great music. So, and do you write all your own music?
I do. I do have some co-writers that, depending on what I'm working on, be some of my go-tos. I also have a mentor out of California.
Oh, very cool.
I met him at the Durango Songwriter Expert when I was just a songwriter,
Mhm.
and I've been meeting up with him for, I think we're going on 3 years now.
Really?
What I've learned, and the whole idea for me was, I'm not young, not pretty. I've got to have the strongest asset that I can have, and that's got to be the songwriting side, and making sure the recordings are good. So I meet with him whenever I'm working on something every 2 weeks,
Mhm.
and just he's been instrumental in my progression in being better at the craft.
Mhm. So, I mean, but you've been songwriting longer than you've been singing?
I think, in my former life before a firefighter, I was performing live,
Okay.
and it wasn't country music at the time. And around here, country music was, there was only a handful of people that you would ever know that would listen to country music.
Mhm. Mhm.
And once Chris Stapleton came along, and
Mhm.
a few others, Florida Georgia Line, and I was hooked. And
Mhm.
I found, okay, I'm going to switch tracks and see if I can write country. And it was so difficult. It was, to
Really?
me, it was the hardest genre that I've ever written for. And because
Why?
it's so
Yeah.
lyric and story centric. And so I had a lot to learn, to re-gear, to rethink about songwriting, and no longer did imagery work. It was more that whole verbal way of being able
Mhm.
to describe something.
Yeah, but being who you are and what you do, you think a lot of those stories, and you obviously have a heart of gold, and you live a life like anybody else, and just all that is what makes up a great country song.
You're
And
absolutely right.
you think you could pull all that together, but it's not as easy as you would think.
No, and I had these ideas, and I couldn't get it out. It didn't work
Mhm.
right
Mhm.
until I met with the right people to either co-write with. And not only that, I was a member of the Nashville Songwriters Association. So
Cool.
I would join every seminar I possibly could,
Mhm.
group songwriter rounds, things like that, until I learned more and more and more. There's still so much I have to learn. But at least I know that, and I know continually what I have to do to work on it.
Right, right. Wow. Wow. So tell us a little bit about the previous songs that you've had out. I know you got your guitar on your lap and you were going to do one, but so the most recent, I mean, up to Bad and Boozy, what'd you have out just before this?
So if country was a town,
Okay.
was to U.S. country radio from December till about late April,
Okay.
and that was probably the strongest song that I had. And we talked about that, and that was a co-write with myself and Sarah Peterson out of Nashville. And the idea was that I wasn't happy with things. It wasn't necessarily a statement song, but
Mhm.
I wanted to be able to talk about where we were at today. Not everybody has the same patience. Not everybody's as kind anymore. So what if we actually wrote a song about what it would be like to live in a town where we live by, classic country
Mhm.
lyrics?
Mhm.
And that's where how If Country Was a Town came out.
I love it. I love it. And then I listened to Bad and Boozy, and that song's rocking. But do you ever fall into that frame of mind of classic country? You know, you mentioned Stapleton. Listen to what he does and what he puts out. We just had him here for a show a couple of weeks ago. Just blew my mind to listen to him and how heartfelt his songs are and how he touches everybody. And all he does is sing. He doesn't talk much. And if you go to a Stapleton show, it's just one song after the other.
Yeah. He's my influence.
Mhm.
And I don't sound like him, but everything that I listen to of his, I learn more and more all the time. He is a genius at not only songwriting, but then performing that side, and his voice is just incredible.
Well, look at all the songwriting he's done up until he started singing the songs. I mean, he was writing for anybody and everybody.
That's right.
He was getting her done.
My songwriting mentor, when he would songwrite in Nashville, they would all rent rooms out of this one place, and he said that he could always hear Chris Stapleton down the hall because of how strong his voice was during the
my God. So. Yeah, I love that. So you're going to play us something?
Sure, I can play If Country Was a Town, which is my last single.
Let's do that.
I heard a song playing on my radio, how it used to be a long time ago, and wondered how we got to where we're at right now. Whatever happened to some man, hold the door in a helping hand. Now we're on our phones in self-checkout lines while we paint a perfect life online. If we could live the lines of a George Strait song, that'd be a real good place to start. A place we can all belong. If country was a town, not a lock on a door to be found, and we'd be okay to get in the truck and take the long way around. There'll be room here at the table for you to join us if you're able, and we'd be living in the middle of the moments that really count. Imagine where we'd be if country was a town. Showing up, working hard, Sundays at church and time with your ma. Falling in love ain't a throwaway, 'cause the roots we put down are here to stay. Jordan Davis singing just by dirt, where sleeves are all rolled up, and digging deep don't hurt. If country was a town, not a lock on a door to be found, and we'd be okay to get in the truck and take the long way around. There'd be room here at the table for you to join us if you're able, and we'd be living in the middle of the moments that really count. Imagine where we'd be if country was a town. It's not just a place, it's a feeling. Maybe we'll get there if we believe it. If country was a town, not a lock on a door to be found, and we'd be okay to get in the truck and take the long way around. We don't meet at the bar at a favorite table, and friends will join us if they're able, living in the middle of the moments that really count. Imagine where we'd be. It all starts with you and me. Imagine where we'd be if country was a town. Imagine where we'd be if country was a town.
Yeah. Well, look at that. We switched sides. I have no idea why. But that, see, I loved it. And actually, usually it's tough to get a good sound when you do something over the web like we just did. It sounded great, man. Sounded great. Sounded great.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Skip. Thanks.
Do you sit down and get the fam and say, hey, you know what? I put this song together. And if I could have your undivided attention, not on your phones, not watching television right now, not on the computer, get the kids, get everybody together and go, I want you to hear this. What do you think? Do you ever do that?
I do that, especially with my wife. My wife is my biggest fan and my biggest critic at the same time.
Very cool.
So I'll run it by her, and especially the way, if the beginnings of a song and then kind of halfway through and then where it ends. So it's I take her values. Sometimes when I'm on a mentoring session, you can hear her shouting in the background. It's just like, no, I don't like that. Yeah, I like that. So it's good. My daughter the same way. My daughter is also musically inclined as well.
I love it. Okay. How old's your daughter?
My daughter is 22 years old.
Oh my goodness. Is she the oldest? How many?
No, she's the youngest. I have a son as well. He's 25.
Well, right there with you, my friend. Yeah. I got 8 grandkids, so I'm just saying.
Wow. Yeah. No grandkids.
Wow. Yeah. I had my kids when I was young.
Yeah.
Like 12.
That would be quite I would love that. And but right now, and congratulations on 8 grandkids, by the way. So that's but yeah, no grandkids in the picture right now.
No, okay. Do they say, Dad, when we go to Nashville, or I imagine they're all out on their own doing everything. But
they are, and they're both working, and they haven't made a trip to Nashville with us right now. This time in their lives, they're just so busy right now that they can't see and think about actually getting away and doing it. They're just starting their lives and their careers and try to hunker down and do the best they can.
Now, have you been in the Bluebird?
I have played the Bluebird.
How about the local?
The local I've played as well.
Those are
2 fantastic places. I love them. I love it there.
Been out to the Station Inn?
I have been to the station, not played it, but I've been to the Station Inn.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been there and kind of taking care of some business, if you know what I mean, some friends. So done that. Usually when I hit Nashville, I'm not in the heart of the, down on Broadway. I'll go to some place like the Station Inn. I go to the outskirts.
Yeah. 3rd and Lindsay for us.
Yes. Yes.
I played the Commodore a couple of times. Usually if I'm recording, I try and get a songwriter round in there while I'm there.
Okay.
And so there's more of the songwriter rounds. I like to be able to see people working on their craft, and not saying that Broadway's not craft. They're all fantastic musicians, and it's a great place to just sit in a honky tonk and be able to watch live music. And but I do love the songwriter rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things when I do hit Nashville like this weekend is I want to take in something like that. And I have before, and I'm sure we'll do it again. But then you hear people with their craft and kind of how it all comes together, and people just come up with these ideas and they do things differently. And you hear how maybe the birth of a song, you hear how it's developed, which is cool.
Absolutely. I love hearing the stories about, number one, the story about how the song came to be, and then how the song was written. And a lot of these songwriters you see, other artists have picked it up. So, you may, and kind of the journey, I would call it the journey of the song. Where does it actually take until it finally gets to where it's going? So
where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I can see myself touring pretty heavily. I'm about to release an album next spring that I have enough material for that now. So everything I'm gearing towards is for the future. So, with securing management and now working on festivals for next year, until it actually takes me to a lot of touring. If I'm going to get myself out there, I'm going to have to hit the road.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 100%. I know it from my side of things.
Yeah.
And who does most of your booking now that you got the management? Do they do the festivals, or are they just doing the radio type of thing for you and you do the festivals? How does all that work as an independent?
Yeah. So up until now, it's been myself that has booked pretty much everything I've gotten, but I'm to the point now where it's a little on the daunting side. I just don't have the time to be able to deal with so much music business and then deal on the creative side and things like
Right.
that. And not only that, it looks better if I have representation calling for me instead of me calling saying, "Can I play?" So where
No, I get you.
yeah. So
Yeah.
in this way, it looks like I'm at another level, which is what I'm looking for next.
Mhm. What about your hometown there? Do they know what you do? Do
They
they know
do.
that we got this recording artist that lives down the street, and this guy's doing pretty good?
Believe it or not, but same as Josh Ross, there is not much of a country following here in this town. I
Right.
actually have to go to Northern Ontario, Eastern or Western, which I have a good following, more down in the Niagara way. So I'm trying to change that, but the things in this area is a little bit more on the pop or the classic rock side. So
What's the there's a casino down on, I believe, the Canadian side by the falls. Am I
there
correct?
is, there is. I believe it's Fallsview.
Okay.
Fallsview
Okay.
Casino is the big one. So
Yeah.
um,
Do you get a chance to get in places like that and play?
that's pretty big for right now. That's for bigger touring acts.
All right. Okay.
Uh, as a matter of fact, I'll be seeing Darius Rucker there
Oh, cool.
in August. But
Mhm.
there is a big bar that's right down on the strip that I play regularly. As a matter of fact, I'm there next week, and it's called Big Texas,
Oh,
and
okay.
it is hopping. It's about 600 just raring to go 19 to 30-year-olds that they love country music. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fantastic that way. So
You're right, though. To me, it strikes me kind of funny that there's like country is huge here. And there's a lot of people that will not admit that they listen to country, but they're listening. But in Canada, you're right. It's like just here and there, sporadic, like different. Now, I know they have the CCMA and all that, but still, it's, I don't know. It is kind of weird.
and I'll tell you, Skip, when I go down to the US and I'll hit radio tours in Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama,
Mhm. Mhm.
Indiana is going to be another one. I'm in my glory because it it is, it's first and foremost for most people. So, being down in Muscle Shoals and being told that, you walk in anybody's house and there's going to be a Grammy sitting on the shelf. Music is centric to everyone down there. And
Right.
it's so
Right.
refreshing to be around. And sometimes coming back here to, you try not to stall when you're trying to continue everything just with the way things are here.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just it's different.
It is different. It is different. I'm going to back it up to your career just for a moment. Don't
Sure.
get nervous.
Okay.
So you're a firefighter, but are you in Toronto?
So
Or
I do. I work right downtown Toronto.
wow, dude,
Yeah.
right in the heart of it all.
Yeah. And I said if I'm gonna work somewhere that I wanted to be somewhere where I'm gonna be in the thick of it all
You're in
and
the thick of it.
believe it or not, in the thick of it all. And that's the other part, I see you and I both know you've done the job for 20 years that, being in a big city like Toronto, there's an awful lot that I see. And I find my music is my therapy on my downtime.
It's kind of where I was going because I do know some of the things that you see that you've done, been there, and you just go home and you say, I just can't do this anymore. Or you see, I can remember a moment in my career where two children died in a fire. I could not wait to get home to see my kids.
Mhm.
And I'd be the first to admit, I bawled my eyes out. And I said, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I was pumping the truck and they put them right next to my feet and while they were working on them. And it really bothered me. But I think if I was like you and I had music, I would probably grab my guitar, go to somewhere where I can be by myself, and I'm just going to play. Just kind of help that get me through this. I think,
Exactly.
music heals a lot.
It sure does. And you're talking about those calls, bodies at your feet.
Mhm, mhm,
I've had lots of those,
Mhm.
some worse than others.
mhm,
But
mhm.
when I get a chance to writing, which I absolutely love, once I'm doing that, it all goes away.
Mhm.
And performing live, it's that's got its own vibe and feel at the same time. But just sitting down and writing a song, and I'm not about to write anything heavy like that. It's, you know,
No,
for
no, and
me,
I wouldn't expect that, but it's a way to heal.
absolutely. And then it's big, it's huge for me, to be able to create that escape.
Mhm,
And,
mhm.
you know, I'm in my studio room here right now, and I spend an awful lot of time in here
Yeah,
writing.
well, here I am.
And that's right, exactly.
I spent a lot of time talking to nice people like you. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. How well do you feed off the audience? Does it really, like, if you see that crowd getting into it and then they start singing your songs back to you? I mean, how does that make you feel?
Well, that's it's fantastic. And even if they're not, the fact that you know that they're paying attention and they're hanging on every every word you're singing,
Yeah.
and it is fantastic. Then when you see a few people that, you know, a group that's come out that has heard your song on the radio and they're singing the words to it, it's like, I can't believe they're actually singing the words to that.
Mhm.
So it's and I totally, and I'll work the crowd. That's something that is part of
I
my
love it.
live show. So to actually have that interaction and feedback, and there's always a great response.
I was going to ask how you work the crowd. I mean, I imagine you're just all over the place on that stage and getting into it. And if you get into it, the crowd's going to get into it. So,
Exactly. So there's certain things that you can say that it will instantly get a crowd going for the night. You know, we all have things in common, whether it's a hard work week and,
mhm.
you know, you just want to have a drink to forget it, to birthdays, to, you know, favorite artists and favorite songs and things like
Right,
that. So
right.
it's always
What
great.
would it be like, Rob? What would it be like if Chris Stapleton called you right now and said, "Hey, Rob, look, I got an opening on the show I have coming up in Toronto. Would you join me on stage?"
Well, I would. First, I'd say you're one of my friends playing a prank. But my firefighter buddies would do that. So
Oh, that I know.
that would be the ultimate. And you know, everybody has that dream of getting called by, you know, their
Right.
artists that they absolutely love, and go on tour, or even just an opening show.
Mhm.
That would be that would be incredible. It's so, and Skip, whatever you could do, if you could make that happen, that would be
I'm
great.
I'm trying to make it work right now in my brain, how I could make that happen. No, but if you could, would it be Chris Stapleton or somebody else? If you could actually sit there like you're talking to me, talk to somebody, kind of pick their brain a little bit, who do you think that would be in your world?
Oh, I have. You mean on the
Just
artist side?
any artist, if you could just pick their brain and talk about, how did this happen, or why did this happen, or what can I do better?
I mean, I'd love to sit down and talk to Eric Church. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he's the king. He's been around so long. I love Kip Moore, even
Yep.
Darius Rucker, from going to Hootie and the Blowfish to country music. You
Yep.
know, just little things like that, to be able to talk to all those artists. And you know, for Darius, how did he do that crossover? Apparently, it was quite natural.
Yeah,
So
he just kind of flowed. Next thing you know, he was Darius doing country.
that's right. You
Yeah.
know, even to older ones like Brooks and Dunn, being able to sit down and talk to them. Alan Jackson, I absolutely love. To
Yeah.
to Steve Earle, I mean, I could go on and
Oh
just
my God.
and
Yeah.
be able to
Yeah.
talk, you know, with all these people, and even outside of like the, you know, of country, being able to talk to you know, Marcus King. I don't know if you've heard of Marcus King.
Right.
Marcus King is a great guitar. He's actually opening up for Chris Stapleton.
Really? Yes, I've
And,
heard the name. Can't say I've seen him, but I've
yeah,
heard the name.
yeah, the Allman Brothers. I mean, I could go on and on all night
I
long.
was just curious.
Yeah,
It's so cool. Just shows how much of a musician you are, you know?
yeah, and I have my mother to thank for that, just introducing all kinds of music growing up, from everything from rock to country to Motown to everything. And I think you'll hear an awful lot of those influences
Mhm.
in almost every song I write.
Yeah. First time you heard your song on the radio.
The first time I did,
Yeah.
um,
What was that like for you?
that was something. I wasn't in the local area, so I actually had to stream it, and of course, we videotaped it and posted it because you know, that was a huge milestone. And you know, and then my last single got played on Sirius XM,
Mhm.
and that was big. And for
That's
me to be able to play all of North America and tune in to listen to that, not just a local area, which was something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Was it played on the highway?
No, it was played on the Canadians 171's called Top of the Country.
Okay. No, I've got Sirius, so I kind of don't tell anybody I told you that, but I do. So I go through the channels all the time. We do a lot of traveling here, so I love. I didn't say this, but I love being able to listen to one channel and leave it there.
Absolutely. Instead of running area to area and having to change the channel.
Right.
And that's where Sirius it just is out to the masses, which is fantastic.
Right.
And because of being played on Sirius, it really helped all my streams as well. I had more followers than I ever had, and due for the fact that Sirius XM was playing it.
Rob, this has been some great conversation here tonight. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of your music, where can they go?
So they go to my website, robfitzgeraldmusic.com, any of the streaming services, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer. Just look up Rob Fitzgerald, and I'm on all the socials.
I was going to ask about the socials. Yes.
Socials. It's usually under Rob Fitzgerald Music.
Okay. Do we have to put the A afterwards, like Rob A? I'm kidding.
I don't know who you're going to find, but you won't find me.
No, I'm just busting on you. That's all.
Okay. It's true. Like I say, we say A lot, and we say, I'm sorry.
Yeah. You haven't done either tonight.
No.
And if you didn't tell me that, you were in Canada and Canadian, I would have not known. So,
well, that's good to know. So I made a conscious effort of that too. So,
you do a great job, dude. You do a great job.
Thanks
for coming on tonight. And hopefully we can get some viewers, some listeners over to the website and get some of your music and start giving it a listen and supporting you and getting your songs on the radio. And, you got grassroots behind you. As I mentioned before you went on with the lights and the cameras, one of the best. There's no doubt these people have their stuff together.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing.
I've been very, very happy with them. They've been very good to me. So,
and I will be in Nashville this weekend. So I plan on hitting up that NASCAR race too. So
nice. Skip, thank you very much for having me, taking the time to talk. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Rob Fitzgerald, everybody. And here it is, Skip Happens. And a big thank you for joining us here tonight. Rob, you stay right there and we'll talk when we go off here. So there you go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night.